Alright, Random Dave here. We're going to be working with the contrast paint, Basilicanum Gray, and we're going to be painting our Necron army. We've got our Scorpec destroyers here, and just painting the vertebra and the spinous processes. I think this is the first time I've used this contrast paint. It's interesting. I was kind of treating it more like a Nuln oil, and it really layers up. If I put several layers on these several layers on these vertebra, and boy, it got pretty dark, which I'm happy with. I think it looks pretty cool. And we got our Overlord here. He's all these guys, they have been dry brushed with the canoptic alloy. So that was kind of my first thing, was a primer with black rattle can, and then a dry brush with the canoptic alloy. Pretty much everything got the same treatment, and now I'm going through with this Basilicanum Gray contrast paint. And you can see our little scarabs here. Just a few little areas, putting some of that paint in there, some little details. Then this little doodad looks like the Necrons kit bashed their own little thing here. I believe this is Iron Hand steel that I'm putting on. Painting up again the vertebra, that spinal column, and joints. Anything other than the main body armor panels and plates is getting this treatment with the Iron Hands. So just kind of going through, slapping paint on various spots, trying to fill in where I see black, because I will go over these with a wash in some areas. Well, definitely the whole thing will get shaded or washed, either with Nuln oil or the what's that called? Canoptic Armor Shade, or Cryptek Armor Shade Gloss. But we'll get to those a little later in the video here. So this is really the earliest stage that I have. I don't think I recorded anything of the dry brushing and any priming, any of the pre-steps. I just took some video of me doing these little details here after the dry brushing. Now it's kind of like the clean up and tidy up things that I missed, and get all the little nooks and crannies, as they say. And then here I'm going over with the contrast Basilicanum Gray to try and get that dark spinous processes and vertebra again. So here's another coating, and you can see it's getting pretty dark on those structures there along the spine. Like I say, that's cool with me. I think it's kind of neat to have that dark look to it. And I think the final product turned out pretty good, which you'll see at the end there. Another little oops. It's okay, we'll get cleaned up and painted over. Mr. Overlord. Yep, again, another coating to darken things up a bit. Now we have our destroyers, and we're going to be doing the joints. Again, any non-armor panel areas are going to get painted with the silver, just so we get some contrast and some things to stand out a little bit. Front of the spine there. Those kind of hydraulic looking structures, pistons, bit of the undercarriage. Just filling in the details there. It's a good shot. You can see where I'm putting that iron hand silver on there, or iron hand steel. I don't think I was going with the other metallic that I had. I think that is Runefang. I don't think this is the Runefang. It looks a little darker. Certainly you can have the option, and had I been so inclined, I could have put the Runefang over the iron hands as a layer to kind of give a little highlights into areas, but I just really wanted to get these models done. They've been sitting for far too long. A lot of life in between the start of this project and where we are now. But there's no time like the present, so better late than never. So yep, just getting all the details there. Okay, this looks kind of done. Kind of like the finished product of what we have here after those details and the armor shade, or excuse me, the Basilicanum gray, and just a little comparison there, see where we're at. Those destroyers will be next. So here we are again, just more of the same, slightly blurry for your enjoyment. A little better now. And you can just see poking around and swiping the paint on there. Little areas again. It's up to what each individual wants to do. I kind of have the desire to have multiple colors and metallic looks. Yeah, so you could paint this whole thing pretty much monochromatically and be happy with it. I had this kind of idea of, I want to kind of get as good as I can with this miniature painting, and so putting in the work now and hopefully improve over time. I will say that I bought cheap brushes, and you work a lot harder with these cheap brushes. I don't own any really expensive ones, but I can only imagine the improvements and the ease of working when you have good quality brushes. These do the trick. Of course, you can see curled tip on that brush, and I still use it. I use that little curl to my advantage if possible. Getting in an angle or in a tight spot, try to make the curl of the brush work for me. It's got some pretty long bristles on it and not a lot of body, so it's really not the best for this job, but since I was using metallic paints, which, as you know, have mica flakes in there to give that metallic look, and those types of paints are known to be really harsh on brushes, so I chose just my crappy old brush. Nice old big old blob of paint on there and pushed it around. I don't know what they call that, Cyandana or something from another game. What was that? Good heavens, I'm not even going to remember it right now. But yeah, it's one of his features to make him look cool. Loincloth. How's that? So for the rest of the video, I have normal sound, so that should be pretty good. So a little update on where we are right now. I've put on kind of the first, that's out of focus.
put on the first colors for preparing to have that Tesseract glow painted on there. So I just kind of layered up. Started with white and then did the warp stone and then highlight a bit some areas with the Gauss Blaster green, and then it's going to be our wherever it is, Tesseract technical paint here. So these have been pretty much done, and if I can get a good, so you can see these are done here. It's kind of got a glow. Try to even get in the eyes. Yeah, not too bad. Let's see if I can get some more lighting. There, that looks nice. So, not too shabby. So we're going to finish up the rest of these guys, including this commander dude. Hopefully it'll look good. Okay, so got everything done with the Tesseract glow, and now I'm doing some Nuln oil, like this Overlord chap just went over some areas with some Nuln oil to get a little contrast, you know, in these little areas coming down, make it stand out a little bit. And you know, I'm gonna doing the spines on these Necron warriors, you know, just again joints, little spaces with the Nuln oil to get a little more contrast going. But so far it's coming along pretty good. I like the eyes. So yeah, I'm just going to continue doing some washes with the Nuln oil on areas, joints and things like that. I'm going to go over the armor plates with this Armor Shade Cryptek Armor Shade gloss as I guess my final deal on these Necron warriors and the Overlord. And I do have to do a little work on these what are these guys called? Yes, Scorpec Destroyers. I missed some spots here that I got to cover with our Tesseract glow. So just, yeah, going through some fine details and trying to get some stuff tightened up a bit and getting them looking good for tabletop. So that's kind of where we're at right now. I'll keep you posted, but I'm liking how they're turning out. Pretty happy with it. Alright, we will resume soon. Alright, as is usually the case, there's always something you find that needs doing. And in this case, part of the features on this model are the little stones. There's like a piece of what looks like a railroad track or an I-beam that needed some work. So I'm working on these kind of features right now. Little stones. Gotta paint your stones. So yeah, it's just more things to do. And this is the paint I'm using for those rock features. Gris Muraya, Stonewall Gray. Yeah, I guess it's alright. We'll let it dry, and then I'll probably have to hit it with Nuln oil to dirty it up a bit. But kind of that's where I'm at right now, is more detail stuff. But everything else looks decent, you know. I'm pleased. Pleased with it. What we got going on here. Our Overlord. Yeah, his the rock he's standing on needs work. And then kind of got this little scarab, the Canoptek scarab or something like that. I don't remember. Yeah. So just going through it. And then, yeah, I did the Nuln Oil wash over everything to try and get some good contrast effects. And I think that turned out alright. And yeah, then it's bases. I'll do the bases. And these, I'm going to call them done when we get to that point. Then I can move on to the next steps. More models to paint. Oh, I do have to do that armor shade, so I'll be doing that Cryptek armor shade gloss on the kind of metallic body panels and stuff. On this Overlord, you can see he's got these features on the back, you know, these spheres that might, you know, be a glowing sphere, but man, I feel like that would be just over the top, you know. Look like he'd be ready for the club, you know, rave or something. But yeah, anyway, I don't think I'm going to do those glowing orbs. It's got enough glow. So yeah, that's where we're at right now, so I'll keep y'all posted. Time for a progress update. We have our leader here, the Overlord, and let's kind of see if we can get a little zoom in on him. I went over all of my Necrons with the shade, the Cryptek Armor Shade Gloss. I went over their panels. Hello. And a lot of the flat surfaces to give them that kind of brassy look. Left something silver. The silver stuff I went over with Nuln Oil. And so I am basically calling my Necrons done right now. Little scarab there on the rock. So for all practical purposes, I have completed my Necron army from my Command Edition. Same thing here, just went over the big panels with the Cryptek Armor Shade, calling them done. I went over the rocks with that game color gray I mentioned earlier, and again the silver. I kept silver with, you know, in the joints and stuff, and then the Nuln Oil. So there's a couple of little warriors. I didn't do a glow feature on the piping there. I've seen that on quite a few, but I don't know, just don't like to go overboard on the glow at this point. But got those eyes, painted them white, and then the Tesseract glow on top of that. Turned out pretty good. Focus. Yeah, you can see it in there. Thank goodness these sculpts made it easy to do the eyes, because my next video is going to show some challenges on my Ultramarines, one in particular. So yeah, I think we're calling this finished for our Necron crew. The Necco boys, I think Zorp called them. But yeah, check out his videos if you haven't seen him. Zorpa Zorp, Z-O-R-P-A, Z-O-R-P. Pretty good. Scarabs with a little kind of bleed over glow effect. But I did go over Again, cryptic armor shade, they look a lot better now. So there we have it. That is our crew. Not all of them in the picture, but a representation. So next up, we're going to go over my ultramarine work in progress. See you in the next video.